Nintendo's heavy hitters square off this week, pun always intended, with Smash Bros. Melee taking on Smash Bros. Brawl. Let's feud. Both of these titles share a large portion of the roster. Some move changes were put into place in Brawl though, such as Mario now rocking Flood instead of his Tornado Uppercut, essentially nerfing his ability to get back into bounds easier. Other characters were virtually unchanged, like Samus, but instead got an additional version to fight as in the form of Zero Suit Samus. Meanwhile, Dr. Mario gets the shaft entirely. Apparently, Nintendo thinks a hot blonde wearing a form-fitting bodysuit's more appealing to a bunch of gamers than a fat, overweight plumber / doctor popping pills. They couldn't be more accurate, honestly. I can't wait to see how they top Zero Suit Samus in the Wii U version. What could they possibly do? What could they possibly add to her to increase the sexual appeal? They added heels, okay. Well, I'm not going to break down every character because frankly that's way more work than I'm willing to put in. This is just a starter topic for you game pros out there. Real talk for a second. I played the living shit out of Melee in college, but I had sold my Wii long before Brawl came out. You know, because it's a Wii and it's just awful. Awful system. That's not to say I didn't play it at all. I had my fair share of rounds. I just wasn't as into it at that point in life. Really though, it's tough to argue cast since Brawl has like 12 more characters. Although it is missing Mewtwo, which just seems foolish to me. I mean, it just seems, it's asinine, really. It's preposterous. It's absurd. Other somewhat big words. What Brawl does offer, however, is a swath of new characters, even third-party ones, such as our favorite blue hedgehog that just won't die, Sonic. Ash Ketchum and his Pokemon trio. Yes, I know he's not referred to as Ash Ketchum in the game, but Pokemon Trainer, he will always be Ash Ketchum to me. Don't even try to argue that point. I'm moving on. We get King Dedede, Meta Knight, P. Diddy Kong, Wario, and Pit. Solid Snake is for some reason also in the game. Sonic makes sense in the world. He's colorful, vibrant, cartoonish. Solid Snake just does not fit in here, even with the box. Even with the box. He would have been more at home in that cluster of a game, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. You guys remember that game? No? Alright. I already mentioned Dr. Mario, but poor little Pichu and Roy were axed as well. Now, some would argue they were glorified palette swaps, so there was no reason to include them, and those people would be right. Who cares? Now here's the real deal Holyfield. This is what it all comes down to, kids. The controls, the fighting, the balance, the spectacle. Missing were some of the advanced tactics and things like spike attacks, and in their place were the awful tripping mechanic, where your character would basically fall if you ran him or her too much. Now people from the Brawl camp are going to argue that the game runs smoother, it's more fluid, whereas Melee is a bit stiff around the edges. I guess I could agree with them there, but that's only because the characters get more keyframes to finish a move. I throw a punch in Melee and boom, it's done. I run over to the local Starbucks, grab myself a coffee, which I don't drink because I hate coffee, come back, Brawl's still finishing the animation cycle. Yes, I'm being over the top to prove a point that I really don't know. Target practice is much more thought out in Melee too. That's just a fact. I mean, that's all there is to it. The adventure mode of Melee contains a better flow, mixing up battles with some racing platform stages. Now calm down. This is where I stop my praise for the GameCube title. Brawl simply has a ton more content. The Subspace Emissary was packed to the brim with additional content for each character. 10 hours of story, boss battles, online multiplayer that sometimes worked, and endless replayability to get everything unlocked. But does all that extra content justify the simplified fighting mechanics? Wow. Ask yourself that. Call me biased, which you undoubtedly will, and call me maybe, but I think the GameCube version has the better graphics. What? You're saying? Yeah, I do. It's all subjective, but I think the more vibrant color palette and cartoonish nature felt more at home for a Nintendo fighter. The Wii gave the characters a lot more detail and definition, but they toned down the hues. Music goes to Brawl, mainly because there's just so much more there. Every Nintendo fan should feel at home with both of these games though. Memorable songs like the Ocarina of Time's Lost Woods theme, Mario's underwater music, Kirby's boss melody, and many, many more. Just have this feeling of nostalgia, this wave of impending awesomeness that rushes over you. Now I'm just rambling and throwing out words and hoping it constructs a sentence because I'm ready to wrap up. Seems like games nowadays are a lot more work than they are fun. They have all the pretty bells and whistles, cool HUDs and whatnot. I'd rather sit on my couch with a couple buddies and kick the living shit out of each other without having to think too hard about it. Thankfully, we have Nintendo to rely on when it comes to that. Simple, straightforward, good old-fashioned gaming. You heard my take, maybe off the mark. It's entirely plausible. I really don't give a damn. I'm here to set the stage for you guys. Feud below, make your voices heard. Pop a comment in, like the video even, if you in fact like the video, and subscribe because I'm going to do more than these. Until next time, feud on. I'm pumped. I am pumped for the new Smash Brothers. Not so pumped to buy a Wii U. Not so pumped for that. Can they just give me a regular controller instead of packaging that tablet in?